But what you are longing for is great and supreme, and nearly divine, not to be shaken. The Greeks called this steady firmness of mind euthymia, but I call it tranquility. In a letter written to his friend Serenus, Seneca describes this phenomenon that he calls tranquility as a state of mind that flows peacefully without being distracted by outside forces. He claims this tranquility of mind is the cure to his friend's anxiety and distress in life. We are therefore seeking how the mind can follow a smooth and steady course, well disposed to itself, happily regarding its own condition and with no interruption to this pleasure, but remaining in a state of peace with no ups and downs. That will be tranquility. Seneca believed that there are largely two types of people who lack this sense of tranquility. The first type is afflicted with fickleness, boredom, and a ceaseless change of purpose, says Seneca. They keep altering the condition of their lives, and eventually stick to the one in which they are trapped, not by weariness with further change, but by old age, which is too sluggish for novelty. Then there are the type of people who do not make any changes to their lives, not out of choice, but due to a lack of ambitions. There are those too who suffer not from moral steadfastness, but from inertia, and so lack the fickleness to live as they wish, and just live as they have begun. We could go on for hours describing those who lack a calm mind, but there is one clear result according to Seneca: dissatisfaction with oneself. Seneca states this arises from mental instability and from fearful and unfulfilled desires. When men do not dare or do not achieve all they long for, and all they grasp at is hope, they are always unbalanced and fickle, an inevitable consequence of living in suspense. Without tranquility of mind, people live in self-inflicted chaos. They cannot seem to control or obey their desires, and are constantly disappointed and tortured by their failures to go after what they truly should be going after. Both the restless kind and the idle kind fill up their days with distractions to make time pass, and deliberately blind themselves from their own misery. But when these distractions are removed, they cannot endure the solitude and hate to observe their own isolation. From this arises that boredom and self-dissatisfaction, that turmoil of a restless mind, writes Seneca. And this turmoil then leads to melancholy and mourning. Then that desolation leads to the state of mind of those who loathe their own leisure and complain that they have nothing to do, and the bitterest envy at the promotion of others. For unproductive idleness nurtures malice, and because they themselves could not prosper, they want everyone else to be ruined. Throughout the letter, Seneca urges us to realize that our difficulty is not the fault of our surroundings, but of ourselves. Seneca suggests several tactics as remedies to a chaotic mind, but they all fall under two big ideas. 1. Self-improvement through serving others. And 2. Living a simple lifestyle. For when one intends to make himself useful to his fellow citizens and fellow men, he is at the same time getting practice and doing good if he throws himself heart and soul into the duty of looking after both the community and the individual. We can all get one step closer to achieving a stable state of mind by devoting ourselves to civic and communal duties. Seneca brings up public office as his first example of this, assuming that we are up for the challenge of serving others at a government level. but he realized that public office is not for everyone. Civic duties, Seneca claims, are not limited to just political activities. He encourages all of us to serve the community and the state, but we have options as to how to do so. Service to the state is not restricted to the man who produces candidates for office, defends people in court, and votes for peace and war. The man who teaches the young, who instills virtue into their minds, who grips and restrains those who are rushing madly after wealth and luxury, and if nothing more, at least delays them. He too is doing a public service, though in private life. If holding office or position of authority in government or other institutions do not appeal to us, we have the choice to serve others in more private settings. We may choose to serve our community by educating the young, helping out our neighbors, participating in volunteer opportunities, being an inspiration to people close to us, or by simply being a good friend. We just have to be aware of which path suits us best. You must consider whether your nature is more suited to practical activity or to quiet study and reflection, and incline in the direction your natural faculty and disposition take you. Regardless of which path we decide to pursue, we have to commit ourselves to consistent self-improvement if we are to serve others to the best of our abilities. This may sound like a demanding journey, but it is a healthy, worthwhile one that will lead to a more stable state of mind. Seneca states, "If you apply yourself to study, you will avoid all boredom with life. You will not long for night because you are sick of daylight. You will be neither a burden to yourself nor useless to others. You will attract many to become your friends, and the finest people will flock about you." On top of being useful to others, Seneca advocates for a simple life to help our minds achieve the state of tranquility. Let us learn to increase our self-restraint, to curb luxury, to moderate ambition, to soften anger, to regard poverty without prejudice, to practice frugality, even if many are ashamed of it, to apply nature's needs, the remedies that are cheaply available, to curb as if in fetters, unbridled hopes and a mind obsessed with the future, and to aim to acquire our riches from ourselves rather than from fortune. Chasing after an overly luxurious lifestyle would lead to chaos in the mind, thought Seneca, for the human psyche often does not have limits to its desires. If we continuously pursue material wealth, our desires will be endless, never completely satisfied, and can end up driving us mad. Another thing Seneca firmly advocates for, in order to simplify our lives, is to cut out useless activities and toxic people from our daily lives. Activities and hobbies that do not provide any profound benefits for ourselves or others are not worth our time, and they will not help us live with grace. The next thing to ensure is that we do not waste our energies pointlessly or in pointless activities. That is, not to long either for what we cannot achieve, or what, once gained, only makes us realize too late and after much exertion the futility of our desires. In regards to surrounding ourselves with the right types of people, Seneca states, we must be especially careful in choosing people and deciding whether they are worth devoting a part of our lives to them, whether the sacrifice of our time makes a difference to them. You must especially avoid those who are gloomy and always lamenting, and who grasp at every pretext for complaint. Though a man's loyalty and kindness may not be in doubt, a companion who is agitated and groaning about everything is an enemy to peace of mind. Of course, if someone is genuinely in need of help, we must do our part in helping and guiding them to peace. But what Seneca is trying to say is that we cannot help people who aren't helping themselves. Unfortunately, some people will continue to complain about every little thing that happens to them without actually looking for viable solutions. In those cases, perhaps it is best for us to devote our time to developing ourselves or helping those who are actively trying to better themselves. We must eliminate all possible distractions from our lives to achieve a peaceful mind. However, we must remember that there is a big difference between living simply and living carelessly. We are not getting rid of useless activities and people just so we don't have to face any challenges in life, but so that we can cultivate the strength and fortitude to face meaningful challenges. We are not removing all pointless engagements so that we can live in idleness, but so that we can take the right actions with purpose. We are not simplifying our lives to live an easy one, but to live a worthwhile one. One last element Seneca mentions in regards to a simple life is appropriate relaxation. Seneca realized that one cannot apply themselves to study and service all the time, and that rest is necessary at times. True relaxation is key in leading a simple but balanced life. In any situation in life, you will find delights and relaxations and pleasures if you are prepared to make light of your troubles and not let them distress you. Once again, living simply and living carelessly are two different things. Moderation is key if we are to achieve a fulfilling, well-balanced, simple life. So let us pursue excellence, but remember to relax from time to time. So here you have, my dear Serenus, the means of preserving your tranquility, the means of restoring it, and the means of resisting the faults that creep up on you unawares. But be sure of this, that none of them is strong enough for those who want to preserve such a fragile thing, unless the wavering mind is surrounded by attentive and unceasing care. Thank you for watching.